All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Brenda Rogers of Quintessence Women's Health, and I'm a women's health coach with training in naturopathic medicine and nutrition, what I call naturopathic nutrition. And now I'm learning about naturopathic yoga as well. Oh my goodness. But I have with me this afternoon Holly Davis, who is a whole food chef, and we're combining forces to present to you a fantastic now webinar meeting online show on nutrition and whole foods. And welcome, Holly.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So, Holly, would you start off by just briefly introducing who you are and how you came to be into this topic that we're about to talk about?
I've been interested in food since the day I was born. I think I was born 7:25 in the morning to the smell of bacon and eggs, my mother told me. So it's always been something that has interested me, that I feel very happy and at ease around food and around creating food for people. And I like to make food that is firstly the most delicious possible, and then the most nutritious and the most digestible. I used to say, you are what you eat. And I think with what we recognize about food and eating, you're not what you eat, but you're what you can digest. So you need to be able to take ingredients and do what is necessary to make them the most delicious, nutritious, and digestible possible. So that's kind of what I'm about.
And isn't it true that often those things go together? What's easy to digest is the most nutritious, and nourishment is the most flavorful as well.
Absolutely. Oh, and the best quality ingredients will have the best flavor generally. Of course there are probably exceptions, but generally, nutrition and flavor start in the soil. So the quality of the soil that your food's grown in, that is a very primary and important part of the whole piece.
Well, that's a bit sad for our food industry, which much of it's developed or grown on nutrient depleted soil. And I guess from a naturopathic perspective, Holly, I'll just add that it's the nutrients in the foods that fuel the body, that not just fuel the body for energy, but make the body do what it's meant to do. So the liver, for example, in order to detoxify, needs, just very simplistically, it needs sulfur. It needs B vitamins and so on. And the blood, it needs iron, and thyroid needs iodine. And these things have to come from food. And so this nourishment approach is so vital, not just for healthy eating and feeling good about what we're eating, but for health and function.
I love that you say that it has to come from food, because I think that the world that we're living in says you can get those things by fortifying foods. You can take all the B vitamins out of a grain, turn it into white flour, and then you can add back B vitamins, and that's the same thing. And it really isn't. And that's a very fundamental, the whole thing about a whole food is that you eat it as close as possible to its original form, so that you get all the cofactors that assist you in getting the most of nutrition out of it and being able to digest it. It's really important.
So can you give us one example then on how we're preparing foods for that, for digestibility and utilization of the nutrients?
So if we look at that grain, I'm not anti any food groups. I'm for all food groups properly prepared. And Nature's Seeds is a great place to look at this from. So grains are one of Nature's Seeds: grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. Those are nature's seeds. And nature prepared them beautifully so that they could go through a digestive system pretty much unscathed, be popped out the other side, and then they could go on and grow. And an animal's digestive system, of course. And they all come with digestive inhibitors. So they all contain things that make them difficult for our body to utilize them. And although we might like to snack on walnuts, say, you can eat a walnut, and when you've eaten one walnut, you probably want 10 more. So you eat the 10 walnuts, and then your mouth feels a bit dry, and you feel a bit like, maybe that wasn't the best thing for doing that. And if you had just soaked those walnuts overnight, or soaked them for 5 or 6 hours in just water with a little bit of salt, the tannins that the nuts contain, walnuts particularly, contain a lot of tannins. Those are the things that make your mouth dry and make it difficult to eat many of them. So that's a very, very simple process. And then you could have those nuts just as they are soaked, or you could go on, cook them at a low temperature for a long time until there's no water left, and then you've got really beautiful crispy nuts. So that's one thing. And each of nature's seeds has slightly different treatment. Grains you soak in water, maybe with a little acid, and I'm doing this because that's a lemon. Put a little bit of lemon juice in the water when you're soaking them. If you're soaking beans, like dried beans, then those would either have something very slightly alkaline, a little bit of seaweed in the water, or a bit of bicarb, or depends on the type of bean. So we can go into that in more detail. Otherwise, those two you could soak with a little bit of lemon, and that will make them cook quicker. It'll make them much more tender and delicious. And that you will then get all the value that they have to offer, and your body will be able to digest them.
And I imagine will be less farty as well.
Definitely, especially with beans. There are some people who just can't digest the complex sugars in beans, but yes, absolutely, like that is a real benefit. Everybody knows beans means farts.
Well, we're going to learn a lot more when we come together on the 5th of May, and that is something that Holly and I are inviting you to come and attend and join us. It's a Zoom meeting, and in Holly's beautiful kitchen in Palm Beach, and the link for that will be nearby somewhere in the message or comments below, or if it's not there, then check us out on Eventbrite and search for Holly Davis, and you will find our event. It's only $15, so we would love you to come along, and it's good 90 minutes or more. We're going to share as much as we can with you to inspire you. So thank you very much, Holly.
A pleasure. Are we going to answer people's questions?
100%.
Yeah, so that's a nice opportunity to actually, if you've got something you want to know about, I love that. Ask me.
I'll be the moderator, and I'll ask them to post, and then we'll send them straight to you for answering.
Okay.
See you on the 5th of May.
Bye.